right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live from Red Hook here at the Funktion House. Getting things started a little late, just getting things situated as we have a big crew here tonight. So we have a very special edition of Live from Red Hook as we want to welcome to our show three very incredible DJs making some movements right now.
Waves right now.
In the techno world, in the remix world. Welcome to the show, Agent Orange, Alexander Technique, and Becka.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Glad to be here. I love what you're doing.
Come to
here.
Red Hook often?
No. No.
No, actually, I think this is like my second or third time.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the
So
Function
far,
House.
so good. Thank you.
So, so we originally, obviously we've been following you guys and all the waves that you guys have been making as of late in the music world. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about how you guys know each other, how you guys got started, obviously, and we'll talk about some of the things that are going on right now.
All right. So, I guess I'll start.
Yes, you can start.
This is Becca, my wife, and we met 16 years ago. Is that what it says? 16?
Yes,
Or
16.
16.
16.
This
You're
very
good.
weekend at the Detroit Festival through a booking agent that we had in common who lived in Belgium. So I had gone to I Love Techno Festival in 2002, met this really cool booking agent out there, and he booked us for a party in Paris 2 weeks before the Detroit Festival. So she called me up and said, "Hey, I'm doing a party at the Detroit Festival. You want to play?" I said, "Yeah," and here we are. 16 years later. A little bit of history in the middle, but.
Paris was actually after Detroit. You
What
said
did I say?
before.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, yes.
That's
Paris
fine.
was 2 weeks after. And Al, I met.
Yeah, how did we meet?
Yeah, so we were talking about this earlier, but I didn't give you the details. So we
Right.
met at District 36 through Kenny Summit. Yeah, he introduced us really quick
Just talk
that morning.
a little bit
Oh, sorry.
closer into the
He
mic. Yeah.
introduced us really quick that morning. It was like Lainey, she was doing a party there.
Oh, right.
And I'd heard of you, I've seen your productions
Right,
and stuff. That's, I think, when Electroclash was popping off. That's the
Oh,
first
wow.
time I'd heard of you.
Yeah.
Because I was working at Satellite back then.
Right,
but
right.
yeah, and then we just kept in touch, I think, through Facebook and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
We
yeah.
exchanged information.
Yeah, because
and-
when I had like a little bar, I had you come down.
yes, that was
Yeah.
super cool,
That was-
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then we kind of hit it off, I think.
Yeah, because I was always watching you too. So.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And that was a while ago, too. That was when I first come back after living in Spain, I think. So it was probably 2011, something like that, yeah.
Well, I met you. In
Once.
Spain, right?
Once
Barcelona?
in
Oh, yes,
Barcelona.
yes, yes.
We want to hear you, so
Yeah,
make sure
we
you
were
talk into the
living.
mic.
We were living in
yeah.
Barcelona, and I, for a brief few months, I took a job in an Irish bar to
Right.
pick up some extra cash, and he came in
Came
with.
stumbling in the
Yeah,
back.
no, he was doing a gig at
Razzmatazz.
Razzmatazz,
Right.
and
club,
the
yeah,
driver for the club, his brother was like in a band that would perform at the bar, so
Right.
they came into the bar one night when I was working, and then when fast forward to when we moved back, and we went to his bar in Jersey.
Yeah.
And I
We
saw him
realized
again,
it,
and
yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, I remember you. I met you in Barcelona.
That's funny.
Wait, so you owned the bar in Jersey?
Yeah, for a little bit, for like about a year and a half. But it was a bar that I basically got my start at, like DJing, and I would, I ended up owning it with a couple of friends, and it was a good ride, fun.
So you just play whenever you wanted.
Yeah, I would bring in old school hip hop guys. I had Red Alert. I
Yeah,
had,
good sound system.
Yeah,
Pretty
I
good,
would
yeah.
have techno, house nights. You know what I mean? It was really
awesome.
cool. Yeah, I wish I could do it again. But you never know.
So you guys,
Yeah.
you're all from New York,
I am, yeah. born
Well, I'm
and
from
raised.
Jersey.
Jersey.
I'm from Philly,
From Philly?
originally.
Yeah.
And when
I
did
was-
when did you come to New York? What year?
Well, no, I
Jersey,
I live in
Oh,
Jersey
Jersey.
now. Yeah, I'm from Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Right,
yeah.
right there.
Okay.
11
And
miles.
when did you
Yeah.
move to New York?
11 miles
I've
from
been
here.
in New York for 20 years now,
All right.
so I'm an
It's
adopted
long.
New Yorker.
She's adopted.
I'm-
She's
I-
official.
yeah,
But
so
I
I'm
mean,
an
Philly
official.
is only
Yeah.
a hop, skip, and a jump away
I know,
from New
but
York.
the Philly accent, it's like,
Ruins
You're an
everything.
Eagles
it
fan
ruins
also. right?
everything.
Well, I lived in Williamsburg.
I
for
have
like,
to say on camera for my dad, 'cause he might get
so,
upset
I
if
got,
I
I got
say
some New York
otherwise.
cred.
Excuse me.
So you were were you part of the hipster movement?
Yeah, pretty much.
Look at his beard.
And the Pabst beer. And all that.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, it was all part of the rejuvenation of the
Yeah.
house music world
Pretty
It's kind of true, yeah.
in Brooklyn.
I mean, so
Brook-
many good clubs were born because of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the best one of them is closed now.
Yeah.
So
But-
speaking of clubs, when did you get your start? What was the first club in New York that you played in?
So I got my start, I guess, when I started collecting records around 1988, 89. I'd gone out to LA actually to spend the summer there with my cousins. And my cousin was just turning 16. So everyone in her class was turning 16. There were Sweet 16s like every weekend. And there was like one DJ group that was kind of doing a lot of the DJing there. And these guys just impressed me. Like I always liked music, always like, pressing record off the tape deck and all that. I was still like 12 years old at the time. But these guys, just something about the way that they were, they were putting the music together. They were controlling the crowd really. Just impressed me. And from that moment, I was like, this is something I really want to pursue. The thing that got me the most, though, is they had versions that I never heard on the radio, remixes, dubbing. Back then, freestyle records would have 5 mixes, like no problem.
Yeah.
And I heard all this stuff that I wasn't familiar. And that, like, mystery was really what hooked me, I think, the most. Which leads to all
Isn't
the
that
remixes I'm
amazing?
doing
Like,
these days.
I think every DJ goes through that, where, like, I think,
Mixing 2 tapes.
no, but just like,
I used to try
that
too.
moment where you're captured by somebody doing something that's like, oh my God, I want to do that.
Right.
Or it's just like, it's an unbelievable
grabs you,
feeling,
yeah.
and I think back, like we're all probably from the same era,
Yeah.
growing up as DJs. And I think like probably every one of your friends wanted to be a DJ, right? Like everybody,
Not as much as now.
no,
Yeah, it wasn't like
Now
it
it's
is
crazy.
now.
now it's like everybody who walks the
Yeah,
face of the earth wants to be.
yeah.
But I think like everybody was always mesmerized, but it was always the select few who like just sort of dived in and like became committed, because it wasn't a cheap
There
thing
was a
to
curve.
do.
There was a
yeah,
curve.
yeah, you
right?
had to
Learning
buy the
curve,
music.
money
You
curve,
had to.
Imports are
studio
expensive.
curve for productions.
that-
You have to work in a
Yes.
studio.
That moment
Import,
where
yeah.
you pick it up and you're like, wow, this is what I want to do. It's an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think you could turn
totally.
back
No, you
once
can't.
once you
No.
get once
And we
you
were
get
able
the
to see
fever.
the transformation of it all.
Yeah.
Like I also owned a record shop when I had just turned like 19 or something like
Let's
that.
forget that.
Businessman. over
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And it was crazy because I saw the whole thing, like I never thought vinyl was going to stop. Like,
Yeah.
Who did?
I mean, it hasn't now,
Well,
but the way it was, you
But,
know what I mean?
Like when DJs first started playing on, like when CD decks first came out, and before like any club DJs were playing on it, it was more like a mobile thing,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
And
right.
if you ever saw like DJs playing on CD players, I would always be like, they're not real DJs.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Everyone,
went through
Right?
that.
I
I
mean,
went
like-
through that
Oh.
too.
Yeah.
They're not real DJs.
That would
right?
drive me crazy. I'd be like, oh my God, like,
Yeah,
no,
that-
I'll never play on CDs. And then
Never.
little by little, I was like, oh, well, hey, I got this on CD, and then, I would have one CD player, and then
Yep.
I got another one, and then,
I think the revolution was when like CD burning came into
Yeah.
effect,
Right.
You'd
and
burn your own
Napster,
tracks,
and just like
absolutely.
everybody's downloading music from
Yeah.
everywhere, burning CDs, and now you're like, holy shit, I can have all
And
these
that-
songs with me all the time.
Access.
and that's
Yeah.
when my record sales started dropping, and dropping, and I
Close
was
it up.
like, no, and having nightmares.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
anyway, you know
Yeah,
what happens.
That's
from
the
there.
same
Bad
at the
time
end
to
of
be in the
satellite
record
records.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now records are making a comeback.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now
yeah,
people
now.
are pressing things on vinyl again.
I think that's more like
Well, I'm not going to say.
small runs.
Yeah, it's
They're
not
not
making.
gonna, it's not going to be like it was,
No, it's
10,
not.
15
It's up from
years
zero.
ago.
So when people say that
Yes.
record sales, it's like it's up from zero. Like
Yeah.
when it
I
hit
mean, I
rock
think it's still
bottom,
great
and
to
now
have
it's
that
on its way up.
option, though.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably a good time for people who have a really deep collection to cash in on some of the records that are worth
True.
a lot of money.
True.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So if you
Discogs.
were like if you were a record person,
Right.
and we know a few of them, that they have an unbelievable collection. Like now's the time to start like putting some stuff out there. I mean,
won't.
people are making so much money on
won't.
Discogs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where you can sell
Yeah,
and
200,
purchase
300
records there.
minimum,
So
yeah.
it's like
Well, we put our record collection. Now we have about 8,000 now in the house, but we're keeping it. You know?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not parting with
That's
my
gonna be my
records.
daughter's treasure trove. I hope one day she'll just dive in and
Yeah.
just explore.
Yeah, I kept
you
mine
know?
too. Like I think I got rid of some like the doubles that I had
Yep.
from the store and all that, but then I'm
I
keeping
still
what I
have my
now.
record collection too, and I feel like it's time to get rid of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I really do.
Yeah.
Because I don't see like young kids coming up like into the record game anymore. And I feel like 20 years from now, it's going to be tough to sell them.
That's true.
know, like nobody's collecting records. None of the younger generation I see collecting records. It's all like older guys like our age,
Like older
still
records.
like
Yeah.
like trading records and putting things on Discogs. There's no 20-year-olds buying records right now. You know, so
Yeah.
I worry that it's
Damn,
not.
I was
gonna be
thinking
worth
about
it.
pressing, like.
Well, there are. I mean, there
No,
are
no.
300 runs. Like,
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was
Like,
thinking
they
about
go
doing.
What
quick.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, I don't think there's like many. Let's say
Yeah,
in the U.S., there's not many like the younger generation buying like promos or getting
Yeah, yeah.
excited about test pressings,
Right.
And stuff
like we
like
used
that.
to, yeah.
Yeah,
know?
it's the hobbyists.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, like 45s have become a really big thing now. You have a lot of
Vintage,
DJs, you know, seeking certain 45 records, and they're spending $200-300 on
Wow.
a 45.
Yeah.
You know,
That's insane.
Well, you know
It's
what surprised
crazy.
me?
That's like-
What
that's
surprised me
really
was
insane.
Amsterdam last year. When I went for
ADE.
ADE, and there's record stores all over the place.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different. It's different
Yeah,
overseas.
It's totally different. Yeah, yeah.
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 You
They
have
still
you have
have
people.
respect for
Over,
it.
yeah, overseas, you know, like they're more connected, and there's more depth in like music knowledge, like house music knowledge and techno and stuff like that
For sure,
to the everyday people.
I
you
think
know?
they just appreciate art in a different way than
Yeah.
we do. Yeah, they grew up with that culture,
Yeah.
you know, be it music or painting or whatever.
So have you guys always been techno? Like, has it always been techno, or has it been a progression? I
No,
mean,
it's for me. It's been well. I went from hip hop.
Yep.
I was always doing hip hop, and I came from the whole scratching thing, and you know, battling and this and that, and then even my record store was all hip hop, you know, in Jersey. And then little by little, I progressed, and I got into the whole house music thing, and you know, I was playing house, techno, all that stuff, you know, through the years, you know. And then I got into Electro Clash.
Yep.
You know, I was doing a little bit of Electro Clash, which to me was kind of like techno. It was more like industrial.
It was like house meets the breakbeat electro.
Right,
almost, like
right.
the
That's why I
older-
really liked it, and you know, flipping it.
Yeah.
You know,
They're like
kind
cutting
of like
out-
the
yeah,
way
yeah.
I would do with hip hop, you know,
Yep.
or whatever. So that's what I really liked about that, you know.
nice.
But
Let's talk about production.
All right.
You guys making some bangers right now.
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
So let's talk like how often you guys in the studio.
Every night, pretty
This
much.
one
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Every
I'm
night.
there all
A few hours every night.
Every night, yeah. Even during the day, like I'm there a lot.
Yeah, you more
Yeah.
than me. I mean, you know, I have a lot of other stuff going on. I have a full-time job still, you know, a daughter, a house, and everything to take care of. So it's
Oh,
just consistency.
Same here. I work too. Me too. But you know, you gotta hustle.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
It's just the consistency that's
Yeah.
important. Now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking
2
about
hours
that
a night,
before.
3 hours a night, you know, as
Yeah,
much
he
as I can.
sacrifices a lot of sleep,
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
and it's
But, hey.
hard though. You know, trying to
No
balance
choice.
everything. So
Yep.
And what are you guys producing on?
Ableton.
Yeah, Ableton.
Ableton.
well.
But I've, you know, been through. I learned on Pro Tools. I still love Pro Tools. But for MIDI, it's just ugly. For audio, it's great. But Ableton is just, I have it set up where in, you know, a few minutes I could get what I need
Yeah.
better than but I've used Logic. I used Cubase for a while, but everything just ended up too clean. You know, I like a little bit of grit and graininess. So
Yeah.
that's
Ableton's
fine.
just amazing to me.
Yeah,
like-
it's convenient. It has
Yeah.
some you know, things that aren't perfect, but
So whose
Yeah.
idea was
Overall,
it
it's
to
great.
start reworking these classic house tracks?
I
We were kind of like doing it.
yeah, for the last 2 years
yeah,
almost.
yeah,
I
kinda
mean,
like-
like I was saying before, I mean, the whole kind of thing that grabbed me about DJing was this like exclusive mixes, these like weird kind of club versions, extended mixes and stuff. And I kind of just been doing them, you know, as bootleg for a long time. You know, not trying to give out too much for free, but here and there, you know, once for free.
I couldn't get a demo from you. I hit him up. He's like, "Yeah, no, we're not giving that out yet." I was like, "Oh,
Because
wow."
you know, I wanted to clear it the right way. The labels would have been upset. That's, you know,
Of course,
that's
yeah.
that's the game I'm in now. But yeah,
Oh, no, go ahead.
yeah. So no, I've been doing them for a real long time. I remember in 2005, I played Ultra Miami, which was really cool, and I had done a house techno, more like a techno mix of Set It Off, the Straff, you know, classic.
Yep.
And that was kind of like my first one that I spent a lot of time into perfecting, and I didn't really have the parts. I had to like really like make my own parts out of the B side because there's a couple of things you can kind of grab
Sure.
and chop up. And I had before Ultra, the day before, I got booked to play in one of the hotel lobbies, and Straff comes walking in, and he hears it. He doesn't say nothing. He just stays there, and he waits till the end of my set. And he's like, "Hey, man, I heard that crazy remix of Set It Off. Like, where'd you get that?" He didn't tell me who it was or anything. I was like, oh, it's something I made. And he's like, yeah, I'm strapped. I didn't believe him. It took like 10, 15 minutes for him to convince me. I was like, what kind of like coincidence could this be? So finally, he pulled out a bunch of vinyl. Like he had re-released it with some remixes, and he like signed
He pulled
one
out a
for me.
lawsuit.
Well, I wasn't selling it. I wasn't selling it. It was just
subpoenaed
mine.
you.
Yeah, that's really good.
So I think once that one kind of like worked well, I was like, man, I got to keep doing these, and it's just fun. It's just always like,
Yeah.
there's always some kind of story like around it, because
Yep.
the nostalgia people have with some of these records is so strong. It's just
Yeah.
a good time, kind of.
Yeah, no, they do have a good time when they hear something they know. You know, they're like, whoa, you know. For me, it was with Todd Terry. Like, you know, we, you know, I'm A&R at his label Terminator, and you know, one day I was just hanging out, and I was like, you know what? Well, I was at my house first, and I was like, let me cut up Bango, you know, chop it up,
So
put
good.
some hats on it or whatever, and you know, check it out, you know. And then he heard it in my car, and he was like, yo, let's put it out. I was like, sure, you know, and that's
Yeah.
it, you know. And then from there, I did a day in the life,
Yeah.
and then he hit me up, and
Yeah.
we were like, you know what, let's collabo.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how we did Soon I Say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's cool is that, you know, obviously, it's two things I want to say. One, it's very cool to remake one of those classic records, but it's also very tricky
Very.
because
Yeah.
you want to make
Purist.
sure that you do it proper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know how many records, like there's certain records, I'll give you an example, like Push the Feeling on.
Yeah.
At one time there was like 1,000 remixes of that song, you know.
Still
it was
play
just
the
like,
original.
yeah, and it was
Yes.
just like they
untouchable.
people just like wouldn't let it die, you know.
Well, that's
But-
how I that's how I felt. Like at first, I was like even scared to show Todd. 'Cause
Yep,
I was
yep.
like, he might be like, "You're ruining my record," like, you know. And so then, you know, but when he liked it, then I was like, okay, well, that's a good.
No, I mean,
seal of approval.
well that's what I think. You know, like with what you guys are doing, it's quality. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are doing a really good job
Thank you.
on those reworks, and I think that's why everybody's playing them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
Really.
it's been a while for some of those songs, and then you come back strong with like a really good rework of it, and people are going crazy.
It's got to
like
be.
when he
It's
did
got
Witch
to.
Doctor.
Yeah, that
I
one
was
just
like,
really
you
took
know,
off.
Took off. And
So
then-
actually, someone hit me up. One of my friends, Mark, he was kind of like, "Hey, I just came back from a trip. I was doing a lot of thinking. You should remix Witch Doctor," like a random. And I was like, "Yeah, you know," because I have a list, like a long running list of all my, you know, kind of favorite '90s tracks and stuff. And I was like, "Yeah, that's in there somewhere." But I was like, "Hey, now that he mentioned it, I'm just gonna drop everything else and do it. Just what the hell? There must be some sign, you know."
That video was amazing.
And
by
it
the
took
way.
off. Yeah, thank you. And
Great-
Armand
great
being in
concept.
it,
Yep.
you know, as a cameo was definitely
That was so
credibility from the purist kind of standpoint.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this guy's out there, you know, some new guy remixing these mega classics.
Right,
Like,
and another thing that I liked about it, what we're doing is that we're actually keeping it with the original artist. There's so much music coming out today where like they'll take older stuff and whatever, and they don't give any credit to any of the original artists that did it. And
Yeah,
they
that
they
shocks
make it
me,
like
some of that
like
stuff.
like they did it, like they
Yeah.
created it. They
yeah,
give it its
like
own
it's
name.
their artist name, but the actual song name
Yeah.
and sample is just torn
And
right.
Yeah.
I'm like really,
right.
like how
I
are
know.
they getting that even, you know?
Or on iTunes, like they
Yeah.
just throw like a snare over it.
That's it.
Like seriously?
Well,
Like,
there was an article I was reading. I forget what the guy's
it's
name
not
was.
even a good snare.
But there was a guy who was literally just taking other people's tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I remember
releasing
it was a
them.
month ago or so.
Yeah, it was
That
like a
was
month
a
ago.
few months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yes,
like,
yes.
We won't
yeah.
even say his name.
Yeah.
There's
but I
like
don't
disco
remember, but-
samples and there's stuff like that that people have been doing
Yeah.
for years. I've done some like that, but I'm
But you're
talking about like
flipping it. You're
actual
creating something out of
house tracks that came out, or you know what I mean, like in our genre from artists, and then like just taking them,
And they put them out as their own.
Or,
yeah,
putting
it's
them as
crazy.
their own.
it. Labels
Crazy.
that get demos, they just change the name and they
Yes.
release it. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
But that's the downside to digital. You couldn't do that with vinyl.
No.
That's why I remember
But that's
when you,
one of the
you even hit me up,
downsides
you
of
were,
digital.
you were like, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do this with Armand. You said to me,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, yeah, hell yeah.
Like I wanted his okay kind
yeah.
of.
But just think about like there's so much music, and like you know if you go on like a site, you start looking through music, you know like there's been times where I've heard a song, you know I purchased a song maybe years ago, and then you know sometimes they like reintroduce it on like Traxsource or
Right.
Beatport or whatever, and I'm listening to it, I'm like wow this song is good, and I buy it again, and then I'm like holy shit I had this song, it's like 5 years old, you know.
Timeless music can be timeless.
No,
man.
sometimes
That's
it is,
a
but
good track
that's what
is.
I'm saying. There's
Yeah.
just so much music that people can't sort of keep up with everything that's coming out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so that's why labels go like, "Oh, this is great," because they don't even know.
Right.
I don't
right.
even know. Yeah.
It's got to be amazing to like watch a guy like Carl Cox play your record at Ultra.
It is amazing.
It's amazing, right?
It is. It
Yeah.
is. I mean, Time Warp. We have 9 videos of him playing the Some Size Say remix. And
Oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yes. And I'm like, whoa. Like,
And I
you know,
think-
it's like a hot. You know, you're like.
Yeah, it's
like,
amazing.
Yeah.
I've got like 4 from the Don't Laugh from the Josh Wink remix from Nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you gotten like any? I mean, well, feedback. I mean, they're
And,
playing your record, but I mean, have you had any correspondence with any of these people that are playing your tracks?
Well-
like the big guys.
I've kind of known these guys for a little while. Like I've been, just kind of hammering the techno scene for so many years. And I actually, like, I got to meet Carl. I think it was at some time in the night, like when Crowbar was that the 90s? I don't even remember. It's so hazy.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, like I was writing for a newsletter, and I sat down to have an interview. We ended up having a long lunch, and then a few times he came 3 times that year. Every time we just met up, and so he's been supporting me since then, like
That's awesome.
heavily over the years. I got to remix one of his tracks a few years ago. That was cool, and
He's been rocking the Zoom size.
he has.
Yeah.
Some of the other guys, like Adam Bayer, I got to meet when we used to play Electronic all the time in the early 2000s, back also when I was working at Satellite. And,
Wow,
Christian
Satellite.
Smith was living here, and they were doing Tronic treatment every Monday. And, Becca and I would go, and we got to meet pretty much everyone. And then when we moved to Spain, we were just like,
Yeah, Christian's
festival
actually the
group,
one who
like,
encouraged us
running
to
around.
move to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Because originally we were planning to move to Belgium. And then
Yeah, that was
last
one of the-
minute,
one of the
Christian was like, no, come to Barcelona. It's great here.
Christian Smith and the weather,
Yeah.
too,
Yeah, the weather too.
Belgium, cold, Barcelona, hot, that helped.
I met Carl with in space in Ibiza.
Ibiza.
Yeah, with Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd was like, "Come on, I want you to introduce you to someone." I was like, went back
They go
there, you
way
know, and I was
back. They go
just
really
like,
back.
You're like, hamina.
Yeah, they go really far back. That's,
Yeah,
that's
they go
the
far
real
back.
like
Yeah.
English rave scene right there.
yeah.
So what's new? Anything you're working on that you could talk about?
As far as me, the Don't Laugh, the Some Size Say just came out Friday. It's doing really well, charting, getting major support.
Yeah, it's
Next,
pretty
I
crazy.
have the Don't Laugh coming out on Nervous, the Josh Wink remix of Don't Laugh. And then I've been
Anything-
working on originals. I've got a few that I'm sending to some of the labels of the guys who've been supporting me. I'm not going to say names just yet.
Well, we also have another Todd Terry remix.
We do, yeah. We did
working on
Samba.
right now.
Yeah, that's going to be our next one.
Oh, that's a good
kind
track.
of, we're
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
we're
It's
not
still,
totally
yeah.
done. It's like 90%. We're testing it out with some DJs, and
Yeah.
I think we're going to do one more round of fixes, and that'll be coming out soon.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
great.
got stuff
And
coming out
then-
on Terminator.
Yeah.
And then on Dot Records.
Yeah, yeah.
And just putting out stuff. I've been concentrating mostly on
Who's
Terminator.
Dot?
Oh, that's
Can't talk about it
Sorry,
right
can't
now.
talk about it.
We'll talk about it later.
Who's Drop Ready? Is that your label too?
and Drop Ready.
That's
yeah,
your
and then
label, right?
yeah, of course, yeah.
I know
and
you've
then,
been focusing a little more on Terminator lately.
So
Well,
how,
yeah, and Drop Ready we're bringing back too.
Yeah.
How
with
long-
My partner Pedro. Yeah.
how long does it take you guys to make these records? Like when you, like the Zoom size say, how long does something like that
I
take?
think
Is
that
it-
one took about 2 months because we went back and forth.
Well,
Like
we
I
were
would
going
work,
back
he
and
would
forth,
work.
yeah.
We would just ship it. I think it took about maybe a little more than 2 months. Because
Really?
like, yeah, well, it took about a month before I wanted to even show it to you. Because I really just because I wanted to make it like more tribal techno, and I was like,
Right.
how can I translate this? Because like a lot of techno people like, wow, you're doing a house record. Nah.
Right.
A lot of people talk too much, but so I wanted to do it in a way where it worked. So I must have scrapped maybe like 6 other ideas, and that's the one that stuck.
Yeah,
so it
then I
took
sent
about a
you
month
back, and we were
to send
going back
to
and
you, and
forth,
then it
yeah.
took I think about another month and a half,
Yeah.
just because we worked slowly, and with a classic like that, it's not going anywhere,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
get it right, and it goes a long way. I think it makes the difference.
does.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. We're looking forward to hearing you guys play.
cool.
We're excited that you're having us.
Yeah,
You know?
no, this is great.
You got anything else for them?
No?
All right, cool. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We're going to get them up on the set, and they're going to rock live from Red Hook here at the Function House. Peace.
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 All right, we're going to kick things off right now, live from Red Hook here at the Function House with DJ Becka.
it's hot as hell in here, but it's gonna get hotter. I hope you're ready.
Party people, we gotta keep this thing going. You know, like the way we used to do it. Everybody was freaking. People from all over the world. You know, like the way we used to do it. Everybody was freaking. People from all over the world. You know, like the way we used to do it. Everybody was freaking. People from all over the world. You know, like the way we used to do it. Everybody was freaking.
somebody getting saved. God is saving people every day. I mean, God is working a miracle for one of his children. Somewhere. Isn't that powerful? I'm excited. Let me tell you something. We're still beautifying God's house. I need 100 people to write me this week and send a love offering of $50 or more. Let God use you this week for his glory. Let us beautify the house of God together. I am excited about the house of God. I am excited to fall in love with doing something for the house of God. House of God. House of God. Let me tell you something. We're still beautifying God's house. I need 100 people to write me this week. And when you send something for God's house, God's going to put a miracle in your house.
Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. original DJs. Original DJs. Watch out. 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 One mega. dancing. Motherfucker still dancing. Motherfucker still dancing. Motherfucker still dancing.
What's up?
What's up?
Yo. Why don't we give it up for these guys over here?
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Terminator Records, Nervous Records. A lot of stuff coming your way.
That's right.
Thank you guys for having us, man. It's a lot
Thank
of fun.
you.
A lot of fun.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Everything
for
I
coming on the
expected and
show.
more.
Love the Function House.
Nice.
We appreciate the set you guys played.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you.
music and
Thank you.
good best of luck, good luck with all the things you guys got.
Same for you guys, man. I
Yeah.
love the project.
And,
Full support.
Yeah, full
We're
support
definitely
from us.
following you guys. You
Yeah.
guys are making bangers, so
Send us
keep
those
it
tracks
going.
early,
lot more-
man.
Yeah,
Send them
definitely,
early.
definitely.
All right, we'll work something out. I like it. I like it. We can
won't
come
share
to an
them, send
agreement
them
now.
early.
All right, we can come to an agreement now.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning
Thank
in
you.
tonight.
Thank
Agent
you.
Orange, Alexander Technique, DJ Becka. They did great tonight at the Function House. Watch these guys. They're putting out fucking bangers.
Stay young, love techno.
Oh, yes,
Peace.
oh, yes.
Peace.
Peace.